I'm Beth Stevens.
I'm Ryan Lee Gilbert.
And to my right is Miss Caitlin Moynihan.
Hello.
Well,
Yes.
we have a very special guest today.
We do.
Yes,
Luke
we do.
Cresswell of STOMP fame is here with us today.
Fame.
Of
Capital
STOMP
F-A-M.
Yes, absolutely.
We're going to get to that. There's going to be a lot of tapping, and I don't know what's going to happen.
All sorts of things.
Stick with us, but first, our top 5.
This movie is stripping its way to Broadway.
Woo!
That's
Hey.
right. This is confirmation of something we've been hearing about for a very long time, and now it is about as official as it gets. Magic Mike, the musical, is going to be having its world premiere pre-Broadway engagement at Boston's Emerson Colonial Theater, beginning November 30th of this year and playing through January 5th of 2020.
This is legit.
This is legit. It is now, and the people behind it just add to its legitimacy. You have Tom Kitt and Brian Yorkie doing
Pulitzer
the music.
Prize
Pulitzer
winners.
Prize winners, next to normal, of course. They are doing the music for the show. You have Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa writing the book for the show. Trip Cullman, who currently represented on the boards with Choir Boy, he is directing, and Camille A. Brown, Once on This Island, Choir Boy as well, she will be doing the choreography.
Who knew all these people wanted to do a
They all
stripping
want to be
musical?
part of Magic Mike, the musical.
no
Channing
idea.
Tatum, who the story is partially based on his real life experiences. He is sticking around as a producer of the show, and
It's also based on his real life abs.
on his real life abs and
heard,
moves.
I heard.
Yes. For those of you who are familiar with the films, and hopefully you are,
us more, Ryan.
this story is pre the films. So this is about Mike Lane, when he was a college student turned dancer, and he had to hide his lifestyle from his girlfriend
Dancer.
and his father. Exotic dancer.
Thank you.
Yes.
Let's just be
At
clear.
an exclusive nightclub. It sounds fascinating. I'm already buckled in here. A reading featured some of our favorites: Matt Doyle, Derek Klena, Cheyenne Jackson, John Bellman, Dylan Burnside, Heath Calvert, Nick Rashad Burrows, and Anna Villafañe were part of the
very
reading.
fit bunch.
A very fit bunch, but casting for the Boston production and Broadway. We will find that out in the
TBA.
months to come. Yes, but very exciting.
Yeah.
And eligibility has been determined for the upcoming Tony nominations.
That's right. So, the Tony Administration Committee
Yeah.
meets, they make decisions, we listen to them. Don't get married to the rules of the Tonys because they change all the time.
Thank you there.
But at any rate, let's just talk about some of the highlights. But before we do that, can we just talk about this sweatshirt? Look at
Harry
this
Potter. Look
That
at
was
that.
last year. We're going to go to this year now. Okay. So they were looking at these productions: Lifespan of a Fact, The Ferryman, The Waverly Gallery, The Torch Song, American Son, the new one, that's the Mike Birbiglia show, The Prom, The Cher Show Network, and To Kill a Mockingbird. So basically,
I mean,
the
a
fall.
huge slate. Yeah.
The fall. Let's just go over some of the maybe slightly surprising things. The Prom has 3 leads. Caitlin Kinnunen, our former vlogger, Beth Level, and Brooks Ashmanskis are all considered in the leading categories for that show. Stephanie J. Block from The Cher Show will be the only leading performer from that show. They're all Cher, but then there's
Stephanie.
the star,
Yes,
right?
yes,
She's called
right.
Star.
Yes.
And a lot of the other ones are consistent with the playbill.
Opening
so
night,
if
yeah.
you're above the title, you're considered leading. If you're below the title, you're considered featured. And that is consistent with Joan Allen, Michael Cera, and David Cromer will all be considered featured
Right.
for the Waverly Gallery, and more. So check that out on the
It's
site.
all very technical.
It's all very technical.
details.
It's going to become very important
Yes.
in the first week of May.
And someone is returning with all that jazz.
Ryoko
hands.
Yunakura
Yeah.
is coming back to Broadway, playing Roxy Hart in the Tony Award-winning Broadway revival of Chicago. She's the original star of the Japanese language production of Chicago, but she's been here before.
In English, she'll do it in English here.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
It is Broadway.
This will be her 3rd stint in the Broadway production. She's also joined the U.S. touring cast when the show went to Japan. She's familiar with Roxy, and now she's
knows
coming
her
back.
Roxy.
She knows her Roxy, and now she's coming back to us here from July 1st through the July 16th. So a short little run in the show, a couple of weeks, but an amazing experience to go. So do it.
Awesome.
And this new musical is getting a second life.
We're talking about Little Dancer, and we've been talking about it for a while. It was in D.C.
Yes.
It's been around,
had a name
and now
change.
this is Susan Stroman's directing it, and now it's going to be at the Fifth Avenue Theater in Seattle. Tyler Peck has been attached to this project for a long time, and she is still attached. She's going to star in this production. This will be in Seattle from March 22nd through April 14th, 2019. But listen to this. It will also feature Terrence Mann as Edgar Degas, Tony winner Karen Ziemba, who, of course, worked with Susan Stroman on Contact and won a Tony Award for that performance. Tony nominees Louise Pitre, remember her? She was the original Donna in Mamma Mia on Broadway, and Dee Hodes is also joining the cast. So this is directed and choreographed by Susan Stroman, music direction by Sean Goff, and this is Aronson Flaherty.
Yes, we were doing an interview with them, and they said, because the name used to be Little Dancer, it is now called Marie.
Oh, I'm
and they were
sorry,
saying
that's
everyone kept getting confused with Tiny Dancer. The Elton John
I'm sorry, I didn't
song.
mention it.
Like,
it's called Marie.
It's called
it was
Marie
called Little
now.
Dancer. Formerly, it's like the artist formerly known as Little Dancer. Now in Seattle.
That's right.
He can fly, and now it's another musical.
A new Peter Pan musical, but this one is leaning into the darker elements of the story. So, as Caitlin Moynihan told you, the title is Fly. And it's a retelling of J.M. Barrie's Peter Pan. It's been added.
Sinister.
A sinister. That's
Go
right.
on.
A sinister
This is
retelling. This will be part of the 2019-2020 season at La Jolla Playhouse in San Diego. It had its 2013 world premiere in Dallas. And Hamilton producer Jeffrey Seller is repeating his work as the director of this musical. Here are the people involved. You have a book by Pulitzer finalist Rajiv Joseph. You have music by Tony winner Bill Sherman and lyrics by Joseph and Kirsten Childs. It will play La Jolla from February 18th to March 29th. Here's what it's all about. Fly centers on Wendy's life, which is about to change forever when she meets a boy named Peter, a pirate named Hook, and a crocodile who's much more than meets the eye. That's the story of Peter Pan. I thought there was going to be something, that there was going to be like a little, there's
going to be a sinister
element. That's the story of Peter Pan. Casting and additional creative members for this production will be announced at a later date. But yeah, let's lean into the dark of Peter Pan. I'm into it.
Totally creepy.
Yes.
Ryan, thank you for your service.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
We're about to welcome Luke Cresswell. So,
Yes.
Caitlin, tell us about our guest.
Gladly. So we have Luke Cresswell in the studio with us today. He is the mastermind behind STOMP, which is currently celebrating its 25th anniversary. He earned an Oscar nomination for Brooms, a short film based on the opening routine of STOMP, and an Emmy nominations for STOMP Out Loud, a television special made for HBO. The films Pulse, A STOMP Odyssey, Great White Shark, and Wide Ocean 3D have all been recognized and awarded as well. A whole lot of STOMP. A whole lot of love. Be sure to follow STOMP at STOMP NYC to stay up to date on all things STOMP related. And please leave all of your questions in the comments below. Please welcome Luke and Beth.
Hi, Luke.
Hello.
I'm so honored that you're here. Thank you for coming.
It's good to be here.
Happy 25th anniversary.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
25 years of STOMP in New York City.
I know. I feel like a fish out of water listening to you just then, because I don't know anything about the whole Broadway scene. Because
It's
we
okay, we're not
we
gonna
live
talk
down the
about
bottom.
that.
We're in the East Village.
Yeah, you
we're,
guys
we're
are
dirty.
downtown.
We're down here.
Dirty.
We're away,
You've got
we're
your
away from
garbage
Broadway.
can
you know.
lids.
We're more funky down there.
You're so funky. So I saw STOMP when it first came to the Orpheum. You know, Orpheum used to have like plays. That's over now. STOMP is there now and forever. Is that your new tagline, now and forever? Consider it. Think about it. Might have been done before. And then I actually revisited it about 6 months ago, and it's still so fresh.
Yeah, it's great. It always keeps young because it's got a great cast, and it changes with that company. And I think they put so much into it that it brings them out, so it keeps it within their age.
All right, I know you've said it a million times, but give us a little taste of the origin story of STOMP. And don't forget to say the words Pookie Snackenberger.
Oh,
Go ahead.
God. Okay, so a long way back in the day, we were a busking band called Pookie Snackenberger, and I was the drummer in that band, so we worked on the street. So we were just street performers. And because you can't carry a kit, I would just wear a drum, and then I'd play lampposts, I'd play bikes, I'd play anything I'd get my hands on, basically.
People riding by?
People, policemen, helmets in England, you know, with the tall helmets, you had to whack those a bit. Lots of stuff like that, and he just sort of grew out of that, and then got more into performance drumming and hanging off buildings, and back in the day when there was a lot of raves going on, so I'd be inside,
wild.
upside down with DJs playing and all that, all mad stuff, you know. And it slowly came together that the idea would it be great if we could do something that just used rhythm as a language, and that's how STOMP was born at the Edinburgh Festival in '91.
In 91, and then it came to New York
here
in
in
94.
So yeah.
Amazing. And it's had so many highlights over the years. The Olympics and the Millennium.
lots
and
of things.
Tell me
Lots
some
of
the
things.
things that stand out for you.
I think those definitely stand out. I think, but also doing sometimes just playing countries that you're not used to, you can't normally get to because of language barriers. So I remember, the first gigs we did in Mexico City were fantastic, and playing in Palestine was fantastic, and doing in Northern Ireland when it was still trouble. So it's, going to places where you can't get traditional theatre necessarily to go, and fantastic, and opening up those doors and seeing people just really just having a great time.
How does the show change over time? Because when you bring in new performers that have certain talents,
Yeah.
what stays and what's like a centerpiece that's always there, and what changes?
I think the signature piece is always there in the sense of the concept is always there, that you're using rhythm as a language. That's
Right.
the main thing. And then the signature pieces like the brooms or the bins or things like hands and feet. But I think it changes with the cast, because you give them a lot of freedom and a lot of to improvise and express themselves. And so that changes. And also that they bring their influences into the show, their rhythms.
Oh, yeah.
So what might have been hip in the 90s is definitely not in 2000 or 2010. So like me, Grandad, it's totally different to the performers now. And that's great, because I enjoy that. I enjoy seeing a different energy come into the show.
What are some new things that have come up that you didn't think about before?
Well, in the show?
Yeah.
No, nothing, because I
No.
keep them all up.
That's what I was hoping.
No, but I mean, their attitude that comes into the show.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's quite interesting looking at photos, because if you look at photos of when we first started, it's simple things like we all wear baggy jeans with t-shirts tucked in like this, in short sleeves, and then you look at it in the 90s, in sort of 2000, everyone's got baggy t-shirts outside with longer or tight trousers, and
The
so it's quite
fashions
funny
change.
watching the fashions change over the whole thing, because people wear what they want to wear.
And it's so interactive with the audience. The audience is really with.
I think that
The
comes
cast.
about through street performance, because I think when we were on the street, if you didn't get an audience to react, you didn't make any money. So you
So
got
what
to
were
get.
some
You
of your
had to-
tricks when you were busking?
Simple tricks was just getting people to respond. So if you can get them to respond rhythmically, if you can get them involved. So we would never work as passing trade. You try and gather people, and you stop them going where they're going, and you hold them for half an hour and do a show, and then you get much more money at the end of it. So, and I think that approach, to make it an inclusive show. There's no, no wall between us and the audience. It's like it's live, what's happening, and you can affect it.
It's such a wonderful piece of theater because, like you said, there's no language barrier, there's no age barrier, and it's
No.
very humorous.
Yeah, it's got a lot of humour and rhythm. I think are the two things that around the world everybody understands and everyone has. There isn't. We didn't design it for any age apart from ourselves when we did it, and I think it's but there's no reason for it not to be liked by any age. And I think as a inner child, especially as a drummer, in everybody that enjoys coming out.
You're so still right now. I feel like that's not your normal way of being. Yeah.
It's my hands thing.
I had a feeling. He's got it in his body, doesn't he?
I got my hands tired.
Yeah.
No, but these are great. So you can play with your hands and
just
do
happened?
things and play. The sound guy's going to go crazy.
If you are listening to this on a podcast, you are welcome. You are welcome. All right, we're going to take some questions from our viewers.
Yes, we have lots of questions. So you talked about this a little bit before, but Alec wants to know, how do other countries respond to Stomp, and how do people kind of get it?
I think it's funny because actually the answer is the same, and you'd think it wouldn't be. But I think when we first played in Asia, they'd be a bit more reserved because they weren't sure they were allowed to laugh. They thought maybe it was culturally, was it funny or not funny? And then once they realised they could laugh, they'd go crazy. But they're slightly different. I mean, some audiences are a bit more strict in the way they clap. I mean, Germany is a bit more, maybe, but Brazil is just crazy. I mean, they go absolutely bonkers and take over.
We should do a Stomp sequel of just you clapping like all the different audiences around the
Very
world.
racist. It's culturally, rhythmically racist.
Oh, gosh. Cool. So John wants to know that when you first started Stomp, did you ever think that it would still be around 25 years ago?
No, I didn't think the show would be around. No, not at all. I thought the ideas would be, because I think a lot of the ideas are within me and what I do and what I play. So I think I was always going to be a drummer that didn't just play a drum kit. It's, even when I did sessions for people, I'd always play something and pick something up. And so I think that's just the spirit of me. I think that would be there. But no, the idea that a show like this would go on for so long is incredible and amazing.
What was the big breakout moment for you? Was it the commercial? How did it come to
No,
be
it was
this phenomenon?
at Edinburgh Festival was great, and then although we weren't a hit, we were a hit with all the other shows, not the audience. So we were the show that all the other shows
The
would
other
come to see.
performers liked you.
So we didn't make any money, but we got great cachet, and so we felt really good, but we had no money at all.
You were cool.
And then and then we went to Australia and toured for about 3 to 4 months, and that really knitted it together because we had to do it every night and learn how to really make it work. And then by the time we came back, I think the big turning point was Saddle as well. I was in London, and we performed there, and we were very sort of lowbrow to play Saddle as Wells, really, and and it went crazy, and they were really surprised. And I think it was that energy that took us to New York, and then it was Richard Frankel here who had the fight really to come and see the show and persuade people to put it on, because it wasn't everyone's automatic choice. It was
Richard
quite
Frankel,
difficult.
the producer.
Yeah, he did. He was the one who actually put his neck out and rallied hundreds of producers together to raise the money. So, you know.
And how many people are in the cast of Stomp? Because it does kind of rotate, doesn't it?
We have 12 in the company.
Okay.
Because we do 8 shows a week, and it's very physically demanding.
Yeah,
And
it's so much, and
Yeah,
they have
but everyone
muscles, the
rotates.
Stomp people.
We don't have understudies. We have basically everyone knows 2 or 3 roles, and then they do roughly about 5 shows a week. So, and again, I like that because it means you'll see a different show each time because people change roles.
I just want to watch you sweep up. I want to watch you read a newspaper.
Yeah. Well, people say that after about an hour, you don't.
No.
You know, you
Okay.
sort of say leave the room or get out. You
I
know.
don't see you on a subway with a newspaper.
Yeah.
Let's see how that goes.
I
I'm
love
sorry,
that.
we have more questions.
Yes, we do. So Maggie wants to know that what is the one lesson that Stomp success has taught you?
Oh, that's a question.
Oh, this is
That's a-
deep.
I know
that's a
we're getting
big
deep here
question.
today.
What has it taught me? That don't be put off by barriers, and that the world is, we're very similar all around the world, and like I say, rhythm and humour, everyone loves, and it doesn't matter where we're from, what culture, what background, how much money you have. So don't let other barriers put you off doing something. I would say that.
Do you give money to buskers?
Yeah,
I had a feeling you might.
of course.
I would hope so. Yeah. Oh, Alexandra wants to know what is the craziest / funniest experience you've had while bringing Stomp all around the world?
Yeah, tell us a wild one.
Tell us a wild
God,
story.
those are really difficult because we do so many mad things. I think one of the worst ones was when we do a bit in the show where we suspend off like a wall, and we have loads of junk on a wall, and then we hang and then we drum on this wall. And so we set it up in Mexico somewhere, but the lights were on the grid and they didn't earth it. So we're all hanging there, and then they turned the lights on, and we all got electrocuted, which was quite amusing.
But
in the
everyone
sense
lived,
that,
everyone's
you know,
okay?
Well, yeah, we were
More or
fine, but
less.
there was quite a lot of aye, doing this as we jumped around playing.
Wow.
So it was interesting. So yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay, so Zach wants to know. We have a lot of questions. Zach wants to know that what is your favorite like little bit or like piece of the show? Like, do you have a favorite performance or certain?
I do. Lots of things, but I think hands and feet. I think your body. I think the fact you can do so many. I think it's an instrument that we all walk around with, and you can do so much with. I think it's
Was there a set piece in the show that you
There's a
loved the
piece
most?
that just. I suppose it would be the opening hands and feet, just because it's something where you're improvising. Like I say, you're making music out of something you have every day.
And you're warming up
But,
the audience.
Yeah, and well, you're breaking that barrier with the audience. So you actually, when you finish that, you sort of you know where everyone is. Everyone knows where you stand, and you know you can go on and have a party.
What does an audition for Stomp look like?
That's great. No, it is great because we don't. People come in and read
They're not
Shakespeare.
singing. Yeah, they're not reading
No.
Shakespeare.
No, they don't do that. We're basically where anyone can come, so it's an open call, and then we get 30 at a time on stage, and we do a half-hour workshop, and everybody just
So
learns.
you're teaching them something, then they're doing it back.
Yeah, basically we just
Okay.
teach them. We teach them for half an hour, but it's a workshop, so they can ask questions, and we just
I
work
see.
and do it. And then after that, if they feel comfortable, maybe 2 or 3 will hold back, and then all the people we hold back, we then do an hour workshop, and it gets a bit more complicated, but it's still fun. And it basically everyone gets whittled. It's a very long process for us, but it means that everyone really learns about the show. And it also means that if you don't get there, you still get free workshops and have a good time. So it's not like turning up and doing your little drum solo and then be told next.
Yeah, you're not cutting people
we
off.
don't do that. No.
Love that. All right, this can be our last question. So Emily wants to know, what was your experience like when you were a street performer growing up?
It was great. I mean, it was great because I think when you work on the street, every day is different. I mean, there's bad days when you get the nutters turn up or the drunks who want to come and sit with you and hold you and things like that, and it's like this. And I remember once we were playing in Glasgow when the football finished, and Celtic and Rangers fans, which is 2 big opposite. We got stuck in the middle of that, and that wasn't pleasant. So you get bad days like that, but you meet some fantastic people, and street performers are usually quite eccentric people. So you get great stories and great fun. And I think we were playing in Paris, and the fire eater tried to burn instruments because we were performing for too long. So he chased us with flames coming out of his mouth.
Oh my God.
So it's great. It's good fun. And you have to pay for your meals in coins. So we'd all go for a meal, 8 of us, and then we'd all pay in 10p bits.
Just pile them up.
Literally like that. It took us half an hour to count them out. So yeah.
All right, we're gonna go. Luke, thank you for coming. Do you
Welcome.
want to do any more rhythm moments for us?
Voila.
Yes, we have to applaud that. That was wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're
Go see
welcome.
Stomp. You can see Stomp at the Orpheum Theater now and forever. Caitlin, will you take us out?
Yes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We are live at 5 every single day on Facebook. You can listen to us in a podcast form by searching for #live@5 and hitting that subscribe button. Be sure to tune in tomorrow to talk to Nassim Solanpour about his off-Broadway work, Nassim.